Hello, my Virgo beauties. It's always a special place when I talk to Virgo because my moon is in Virgo, and as much as I often think about all the external fire energy I have with my Leo sun and my Sag rising and all the fire placements I have, I think you can't underestimate how important your moon placement is. And I live a lot of my life in a Virgo way. I need a lot of recharge time. I'm paying attention to the details. I'm very structured. All these things. So coming into this reading in May, it's been kind of a fun experience because, first of all, Taurus season for Virgo is great, right? We have the sun in Taurus for most of the month, and that's your ninth house, like the big picture. The big picture, what really matters when you zoom out 7 or 8 years, And part of the reason I say 7 or 8 years is we have this Uranus transit starting. It's moving from Aries, which it has been in since 2011, into Taurus on May 15th, along with a Taurus new moon on that day. And that means that this planet of revolution, electricity, intensity is going to start livening up your ninth house. The ninth house is all about the big picture. It's all about world travel and like the big philosophy, when you zoom out, when you look up at the stars at night and you think about this gigantic solar system and universe we're in, that kind of energy. And so I think this is going to be really useful for the Virgo family because, there's been a lot of attention to detail. There's been a lot of thinking about, okay, what do I want to change? How do I want to change it? But this electricity in your ninth house is going to be a lot less about the details and a lot more about the huge picture. Now, Uranus hangs out in each sign for 7 to 8 years around that. And so the next number of years, it's going to be a lot less about all the little meaningless things that don't really matter and a lot more about the big picture. And while May isn't going to suddenly make everything different for you overnight with, no pause, it's not going to be like that. It is going to be the beginning of a subtle, different energetic frequency for you. And that, I think, is a really good thing. I think you guys have been kind of like ready to make changes, considering making the changes, doing some of it, and yet it's kind of felt like nothing's really happening, It's like some things are happening, but a lot of it's the same. This kind of revolutionary energy is going to help you pinpoint where things are going to be falling away that don't matter anymore. What really matters? What really matters, right? What really matters. And this is just kind of a fun month in general for Virgo because we go from your ninth house, the big picture, right? The big picture into the Gemini season on 21st, which is all about your reputation in the world, the work you're doing in the world. And what a great pairing, right? If you zoom out and you think about the impact you want to make on the world, you zoom out and you think about where you really want to put all of your wonderful skills and your insight and your clarity of vision, where do you want to use these precious skills that not everybody has in this world that needs it, right? We need the Virgos of this world to show up and do the work, right? But it can only be a beautiful, good thing when it feels true for Virgo, when it feels like it's something that's meaningful to Virgo. It can't be something that comes from, just duty or just because it needs to be done, right? We want Virgos to feel that they are doing stuff, they're doing projects, they are getting involved and using those precious skills in a way that feels true for them. That's so, so crucial, right? Let me take a sip of tea here. I know, yes, I am having my Sagittarius mug here. So that's a refinement of that. And I think that's so important. I think it's really easy to get into a routine where you're just showing up to do the work. You're just showing up to be there, be that great Virgo energy. And the way that the energies are working this month, it's like, no, we don't want you to just show up to what obviously people expect you to show up to. We want you to show up to what feels like something that will light you up because you guys are so precious. Okay, let's turn over these cards. I'm really interesting. 3 sets of 3. Oh, this is so weird because I'll show you why. The first 3 cards, we have the 3 of Swords, the Temperance card, and the Sun. And what's really weird about this is I did Leo's reading already, and they got these 2 cards first as well. Neighbors, right? Neighbors. Loyalty is strong with Leos and Virgos, and they often struggle with a lot of similar themes, weirdly enough, even though they're so different on so many levels. I feel deeply tied to Virgo. This is really interesting, though. This is really interesting because we're having a check-in here with past experiences. And it makes a lot of sense. You know, May is in the midst of a very interesting time when we look at the larger astrology. Outer planets are doing very interesting things right now because we have a Saturn retrograde, we have a Jupiter retrograde, we have a Pluto retrograde, and we also have this shift from Uranus, from Aries to Taurus. And one of the things that's coming out of that energy is a little bit of review and incorporation, how we're writing our story, how we're writing our reality, and where swords have been inserted or have been felt. The prick has been felt of pain, of loss, of hurt, right? So when I see this first card out, I don't really see it as you actively getting heartbroken by somebody or cheated on by somebody, any of that drama, right? What I do see, though, is checking in on those times where maybe you did show up and you offered all of those beautiful, warm things, all those assets that people take for granted with Virgos. They really do. It's an issue. It's an issue for Virgs. I called you Virgs again. This has happened, and you know it has, and you know there have been times where you have felt taken advantage of, or where you have felt completely crushed by another being. And there's a check-in going on here with all this retrograde action in very healing placements and very deep placements. You may be noticing you're just needing to check with that, because a lot of times, you know, you're getting all this sun energy right here at the beginning of the month. Taurus season is great for Virgos. It just is. It's a great time of year for you. You know, your ruling planet is in Taurus at the beginning of this month, and that's a great placement for you guys personally. So things are going well, right? We have rebalancing here. And we have the sun coming out. We have some creativity. When this energy shows up, what I really like about this is, you know how when you're thinking about a problem in the middle of the night, it just seems overwhelming. It just seems overwhelming. And it's like, I can't deal with that right now. And then you wake up in the morning and the sun is out, especially if it's a sunny day and it's light. And suddenly it's like, oh yes, I know how to address that. I know how to move forward from that. I do feel like knowing that this is something that you don't want to repeat again and just connecting in with that, it's a really great way to get your focus, because we need points of reference. And our heartbreaks and our times of trial in the past, even, not so much to live in them again, but it's like when you look at those points of reference, you know that you're heading towards something much better. And what I'm seeing here is you're calibrating towards people who are better for you. You're calibrating towards people who have your best interest at heart, who have a sense of balance, who have a sense of justice, who have a sense of playfulness as well and support for you. You know, they bring a warm fire to the mix. I mean, this is fire sign energy. I don't know. Virgos, you often get some fire energy. I don't know why. There is a connection there. And these are very fire sign energies. It's about a warm hearth surrounding you, right? And it's also about you. Like I said, that 9th house electrification with the Taurus energy, with Uranus, is going to start asking you how you want to expand out. Temperance card is associated with the ninth house, with your big philosophy in the world. And you're going to start feeling tremblings of how you're going to, what is ephemeral and what is lasting. And what really matters that lasts. Anything that makes you feel like this does not matter and needs to go. Anything that makes you feel like the sun, that's where you want to be heading. That is where you want to be heading. So there is a check-in point here. There is a check-in point here. Maybe even somebody from the past coming back and checking in with you. I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure. But because, and part of the reason I say that actually is because we do have some conflict energies going on here in the middle of the month. And I do think with that shift into Gemini season, and I do think with some of your recalibrating what really matters, if you are dealing with somebody who's still giving you Three of Swords energy, you may find that you need to stick up for yourself. And that's where I see that. Because look at this. We have the Hanged Man, we have the Five of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. So this is interesting, and honestly, this is a lot less about the big picture, like I was talking about, and a lot more about something going on around you in the day-to-day. Now, this is where that point of reference that I was talking about is actually makes a lot of sense, because when you're thinking about the big picture and the things that fall away and don't matter, it's that quote, the five quote, or the five rule. Anything that won't matter in 5 years, don't waste more than 5 minutes of your time on, or whatever it is, something like that. That's kind of what I'm getting here. You are the Hanged Man. You have the ability to pull back and see what really matters and what doesn't. And there's some part of you, there's some level of your consciousness that is totally operating on this and like getting into the swing of this and like really practicing that zooming out of where you want to plant your seeds and where it just doesn't matter, right? Where the soil is just rocky and chalky, and chalky is not necessarily about rocky, untenable, right? You're kind of seeing what that is. That rocky, untenable soil is showing up, and you get a chance to clarify that, is what I'm seeing here, right? Five of Wands isn't particularly scary, but it's a little bit of a battle. It's a little bit of a fight. It's a little bit of having it out on a situation that's not serving, right? Something needs to be outgrown, something needs to be addressed, something needs to be expressed. But there's a little bit of hesitation here, right? And what I'm seeing is that you guys, it was what I was saying in the notes, people take you for granted. They can take your skills, your loyalty, and your consistency, and your attention to details, and all these things that you have, your ability to see and do in a way that nobody really else has, for granted. And then you find yourself suddenly playing this role, because the Two of Pentacles, a lot of times when I see this card, it's when somebody's trying to do it all and play roles for other people, even if it's not authentic to them, even if it's something that's like not jiving with their energy at all anymore. And I'm kind of seeing you guys feeling like, should I keep playing this role? Should I keep showing up this way? Should I keep juggling these discs? Should I really? Because I'm not feeling it. There's a sense here of there being, you having to check in and realizing you're not totally loving playing this role. And it's causing some tension because your deeper, higher self, your inner being knows that this isn't really what you want to be living in anymore, right? Your inner being knows that this kind of conflict and hiding what you really need and playing roles for other people isn't serving you anymore. And that's what I'm talking about with this new revolution and what will fall away and what will persist. You're a mutable sign, so at some level you are good at just rolling with the change. You have that ability and you in fact embrace it and are willing to take those risks. But yet I find that you guys have somehow slowly, maybe over a long period of time, slipped into a role that isn't really serving you anymore. And that can happen to anybody. But I think Virgos, you have a tendency to do this a lot. You have a tendency to, because you have that mercurial sense of being able to communicate and get things done, you have a really uncanny ability to play that role on the surface and show up and get it done, and then underneath to have this other side of yourself that is frustrated and deeply hurt and needing acknowledgement, and you're not getting it because you're not asking for it. And that's the deeper side of yourself, right? So I'm seeing that tension bubble up here. And it's like just the beginning of this bigger process where anything that is ruffling your feathers and it's just feeling pointless, you're going to start to be assessing how you're going to just let that go. And I'll show you the last 3 cards because they're really interesting. And I kind of see Virgos, you guys can hold it together for a long time. I actually find that Virgos, you guys, with the earth signs in general, but you guys too, if something's upsetting you, you watch and you pay attention and you listen and you watch what's going on until you snap. And you can't take it anymore. Tower. The Tower. You snap. For me, it's like this is all this middle of the month stuff. It's like it's all bubbling underneath the surface. You're keeping it together. You're feeling this out. You're realizing you are not pleased with something. And then the storm. And I really see this originating with you. I don't see this as some outside thing coming in and surprising you and saying, oh, that's not going to work anymore. I see this as you. I see this as your energy putting your foot down and saying no more. No kidding around here, Virgo, right? But what's interesting about this, what is interesting about this Tower and what kind of mitigates it from being this cataclysmic kind of energy is the fact that we have 2 of the earthiest, most focused, centered energies in the world. And honestly, this is like, oh man, Virgos, you guys, this is that kind of thing where when Queen of Pentacles or Empress are angry, they're not the type to throw a fit and make a spectacle. They will cut you with 2 words, right? 1 sentence. They don't have time or energy to waste on any drama. They're not interested, right? And I really do see this as you guys kind of holding steady. Being very succinct in that frustration, right? Now, it doesn't just have to be some kind of battle you're having with a specific person or a specific situation. It could be an internal battle. What I am seeing here, though, is a big realization, right? Between these enlightened cards, right? All these major arcana are all about seeing the truth in different vantage points. All of them. They're all truth bringers, right? All have different elements. The Sun is about the creative truth. Temperance is about the balanced, big picture truth, the huge universe truth. This is about, kind of Zen truth. This is about the truth of destruction and tearing down something that no longer serves you, the need to transform. All of these are different assets of yourself, and I do think that, aspects of yourself. And I do think that at some level, they've been building for a long time. But as the ruler in your own kingdom, one thing I am noticing with you is you know your own value in this situation. You know that you don't need to make a whole bunch of noise. You know that the way forward for you is to keep planting your seeds, keep making that list of things that you want to accomplish, keep your eye on that bigger picture, and do not waste your time with anybody who's coming in and trying to take your energy, right? This is very manifestational energy. This is the energy of the divine feminine that I often talk about, which is, masculine, feminine. The concept of those is one is the outward projected energy, and one is the magnetic internal vacuum energy. And the feminine, it's creating the space, right, for something to meet you. It's creating the space for the next phase to come meet you. And what I'm seeing here is your power play this month is going to be to stay a little bit quiet. Only speak your truth if it's really true, and it's succinct and it's simple, and you're not getting super worked up about it, right? Because you could have people coming at you, or you could have situations coming at you that you didn't expect, but it's almost like it's all meaningless, because you're actually looking at a much bigger picture than anything going on around you, any drama going on around you. You're looking at, where am I going to be in a couple of years, and do I actually want this specific energy in my life or not, right? That's what I'm seeing here. Some pretty big stuff, you all. I'm not going to get in a Virgo's way this month, I tell you what. Or am I guess I need to take that advice as well, don't I? Especially if that's my moon side. People want at you. People want your skills. They're going to be looking to you, right? They're going to be digging in, trying to find out what's going on with you. You don't have to share it, right? You share what's important to keep your equanimity, and then you just do your thing. That's what I'm seeing here. All right. Please get in touch with me. I am doing, my calendar for May is kind of booked at this point. However, I'm going to do a handful of pre-recorded readings, so email me if you're interested in one of those. That way I can get it to you a little earlier than June. Otherwise, my calendar is open for June readings with Skype, phone, all of it. I'd love to work with you all. I love you so much. Also check out PinkLune, my beautiful friend Tiffany. She just makes the most gorgeous jewelry with all high quality, ethical materials. Truly so beautiful. 15% off. Check her out, and then check me out on Instagram at the Sarah Tarot. I have so much fun over there, and I love to meet you guys all over there. I'm sending you so much love and respect from this side of the screen to you, and I will see you in June.